appreciate your time tonight. My job at Special Olympics Maryland is the VP for Athlete Leadership, kind of a new role in Special Olympics, and we'll get into some of the details about that. But quick fact, I do love to travel like Kara. I have not been to as many states as her, but I have been to about 17% of the world's countries. Anytime I can get away, I certainly like to do that. So good. Slide. So Special Olympics Athlete Leadership, probably a program you haven't heard of. Really coming into its own in the last 4 or 5 years, though it's been around since the 90s. Essentially, leadership is partnering with athletes and educating other people about their abilities, but also training and providing opportunities for athletes to share and practice their ability. It's an opportunity, a program that we use to develop the whole athlete, not just the person on the court or in the pool or on the field, but the person who grows outside of their sports roles as well. Slide. There are 3 guiding principles in athlete leadership: education and awareness. We'll talk about all 3 of these. Education and awareness, which leads to training, which leads to creating leadership positions and having athletes practice all the education and all the training that they've learned. So let's review them quickly. Slide. Principle 1, education and awareness. Utilizing the unified leadership approach. I think you've heard Melissa and a few other of my colleagues talk about the unified leadership approach in unified sports. So unified leadership is building up from sports, is teaching leaders of all abilities to value and learn from each other. And we want to create roles where both can be successful. And there's 2 ways that we do this. We build the capacity for our athletes, or individuals or students with ID, to achieve their full potential through training and skills. And then we educate leaders without disabilities about the value and the great abilities that these athletes with ID have. Slide. So you can see in this diagram, the athlete is the center of the whole kind of circle, and there's many ways that an athlete can contribute as a leader. Through health, you've heard Ben talk about the opportunities in health. Through sport, and we know about sport because it's in your school. Angela talked about the 5 different sports, and we talked about youth with Mackenzie, and then we talked about our program in the community. So athletes can touch many of these components and demonstrate leadership in all 4 of these realms. Slide. Principle 2, athletes have a choice in how and where they lead in Special Olympics. We want athletes to be involved and we want them to lead, but we don't want to tell them how to do that and why or where they have to lead. We want to make sure that athletes, in fact, are leading in the best way that they feel comfortable and the way that they think that they can have the most success. Slide. So this takes us to the leadership and skills curriculum. As you can see, we have levels of leadership. We start at the top with Introduction to Athlete Leadership and Understanding Leadership, and then we get into kind of many more trainings. We have some advanced leadership where we're talking about emotional learning, we're talking about managing time, we're talking about leading discussions, and then there are roles, and then there are kind of professional and personal development courses. So it's quite a variety. And in fact, we have over 50 opportunities for training athlete leaders or students. Slide. Principle 3, creating a meaningful position of influence and leadership. 50 years ago when we started Special Olympics, the level of engagement was that we're going to do this for the athletes. And we wanted to provide this opportunity to compete. Now we want to do, now with athlete leadership, we're going to do it with the athletes, and hopefully in the near future that this movement will be led by the athletes. Slide. We do some of this currently in our situation with COVID through social clubs. Slide. And some social clubs are kind of get-togethers during the pandemic to make sure that we're maintaining contact with our athletes. And here are some of the topics that we've been talking about. Uh, they happen Tuesdays and Thursdays from 7 to 8. There's a Saturday night dance party. Right now, 60% of these social clubs are actually led by athletes. Slide. We're currently doing some boot camps, so slide. Boot camps are practical ways that we're taking the skills that we've taught them and making sure that we teach a quick lesson, we practice it, and then we execute it, and then it's over within an hour. So we're trying to uh, apply the skills that we've taught them earlier on in the year. Slide. And once we can get back to kind of an in-person training, we can also offer traditional trainings in person. We talked about the boot camps and some customized trainings, concierge trainings, or trainings that might be school specific. Slide. Okay, just an example of the virtual learning on the Zoom platform. Slide. And it's just a general format for as we get closer in the future to in-person trainings. To host one, we do require a minimum of 8 students and partners. Trainings are generally for participants 16 years or older, and we highly encourage athletes and unified partners to attend these together to keep up with our model of unified leadership. So I hope I can work with you in the near future, and thank you for your time.